Welcome back to another video. If you are new, my name is Monica. Thank you so much for being here. Today I thought I'd do a little sit down talk kind of book video, and I wanted to talk about the 5 books that changed my life. I don't really have a script here, so I'm kind of just going off vibes. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into it, because what's the point of prolonging this any further than it has to be? Because I kind of wanted to keep this video a little short and sweet. So that's what the vibe is going to be here, okay? Some are from the very beginning of when I first started reading as an adult, and then some are more recent. And I kind of just wanted to throw in different genres in here. I didn't even have to go through my Goodreads to find these 5 books. These are the 5 books that I just really thought out loud, like, wow, these books changed me. They sure did. They changed my brain chemistry, the whole shebang. Again, there's a little bit of everything in here in these 5 books, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. We're going to start this off with the first book that I read as an adult. So I have a history of reading. I read when I was younger. Definitely, you know, I'm not shy to reading, but you know, there was a point in time where I took a break from reading. I stopped going to the library. I experienced middle school and high school. No, middle school, I still read in middle school. I experienced high school, and so I didn't read for a majority of that time in my life. And then COVID hit. Just like the way that any other, I feel like, hobby started for a lot of us. I was reintroduced to reading, and I cannot be more grateful. Anyway, that whole spiel to say is that this is the first book that I read as an adult, and it basically got me back into reading. And it also is what kicked off my love for Gothic reads. Mexican Gothic. It was my first 5-star. Back when I wasn't sure what a rating system was, or what it was, like what, you know, first of all, the book is red. Beautiful. And for me, this made me obsessed with different types of Gothic reads. And now I make sure to read, that I at least read 1 Gothic or horror read a month, because it's just a true love for me, you know what I mean? So our main character, her name is Noemi, and she basically receives a letter from her cousin, who is a newlywed, and she is also from Mexican heritage, but she married an Englishman. And so they go and they live off in some place called High Place. And so when Noemi receives this letter frantically saying, like, I need you to come and get me, or like a lot of things are happening around the house and I can't explain it, like I don't feel safe here type of vibes. And so Noemi finds it herself, you know, takes it upon herself to basically go and be like, cousin, I got you. I'm on my way. I see you. I hear you. I'm coming. I'm rescuing. When she gets there, her cousin just acts like she never wrote those letters. She acts completely fine. She acts happy. She acts like there's nothing going on and happening. And so she found it really weird that she was like, okay, the math ain't math in here. Something's not happening. And so essentially we just follow the story of Noemi being, you know, following her cousin and like trying to figure out what it was that happened. Okay. My cats all of a sudden have zoomies. Perfect. I feel like I didn't really give that any justice, but I suck at explaining synopsis and books in general. Other than the only thing I can tell you is that I love this. Okay, it was a 5 out of 5 for me. I love the eeriness. I love the writing style of this, and I love that this is the book that introduced me to reading. It's what started it all for me. This literally altered my brain chemistry, because now this is my hobby. And as much as I love it, moving with books, if you ever had to move with books, that's how you know it's real, because holy shit. Next book that I want to talk about. Now listen, this book that I want to talk about holds a very special place in my heart, because it was the first book that I bawled my eyes out to. Up until this book, books weren't really making me cry that much. I was a little further into, I think I was about a year or so into my reading journey, and I don't think I've ever cried or shed a tear for a book the way that I bawled for this one. I'm obsessed with this book. I'm obsessed with it. I love it so much. I don't think anyone can ever tell me anything to make me give this anything less than a 6-7 star out of 5, because just thinking about it, just thinking about this story and thinking about this book. This is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. What are you eating? Hey, What are you waiting? But I thought the book was beautiful and I loved it so much, and I love, love, love her style of writing. Her style of writing is poetic. And then the audiobook to this is even better. It's even better, and it's beautiful. I don't have any other words to explain this book and this story other than it broke me. I do also have the paperback. I have the paperback to this because duh. I tabbed the hell out of this book. This is such a mess. I hate this so much. Okay, Song of Achilles is the story of Patroclus and Achilles. And so this is a gay romance. Pride, nice to see you. Am I explaining this correctly? Am I a fan of this book? Do I know this book? Essentially, they fall in love. That's all I gotta say. But the way that Patroclus talks about Achilles is the way that I need Mateo to talk about me every time he talks to his friends. I need him to immediately get into poetic mode. Oh, it's the Battle of Troy. So they basically get ready for the Battle of Troy. And so in the midst of all of that, Achilles in a way sort of takes Patroclus under his wing, and he basically... They form this friendship. They were just following their story, and their story is so beautiful, and I love the way that she writes, the way Patroclus talks about Achilles, and the way that, I don't know, just the way that, I don't know how else to really describe to you how much I'm obsessed with this book. If my obsession with this book can't tell you enough that you should go and read this, you need to, or really any of Madeline Miller's work. I will say that if you're not into Greek mythology and you're not into that type of fiction world, or because it's not fantasy in any way, because it does follow the history of Greek and everything. Anyway, I'm doing poorly at explaining all of this. So the next book that I'm going to mention actually gives me the same feels that Song of Achilles kind of does. It's just a completely different story. I included books 1 and 2 in this only because they go together, you know what I mean? But I will say, if I had to choose between book 1 or book 2, I'm choosing book 2. But in order for me to show you book 2, you have to know book 1. The Tom and Boy series. Okay. Oh. So really, out of these two, keeping 13 does it all for me. It gives me everything that I want. But Binding 13 definitely, I mean, it leads up all the way to tell me everything that goes on in this one, right? But let me tell you something. When I started Binding 13, I started it out of like, you know what? I heard a lot of things about Binding 13. I heard some good things. It's pretty lengthy, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a read on my Kindle. I wasn't even done with book 1 before I went to go buy book 2 and 3. Yeah. Right now I'm actually on Saving 6, so I'm on the 3rd book, and I'm about 50% of the way through with that one, and I'm ready, and I'm itching for the 4th one, which is Redeeming 6. Okay, being serious. So I'm going to tell you what Binding 13 is. Binding 13, we follow Shannon and Johnny. Johnny Kavanaugh and Shannon Lynch. My besties. This is told in the perspective of Johnny and Shannon, and they are in the early 2000s in Ireland. And the lingo and everything in this is so good. The book starts off with Shannon Lynch. She starts off basically saying how severely bullied she is in school, and how much she hates her school, and like what these girls do to her, and how much and how desperate she is to want to switch schools. However, her mom is wanting to send her to a boarding school, or to a private school, but her Faja is an asshole and is also abusive to her, and so mom is wanting to send her to private school. Dad said fuck no. It comes to a conclusion that, you know, mom is going to pay for it if mom really wants to send Shannon to a private school. So when she moves to this private school, she ends up meeting she ends up meeting Johnny Kavanaugh on her first day, in the cutest and most funniest way. And that's as far as I can go without spoiling anything else, because after that you literally just go through their whole story of knowing each other, hanging out, of getting to know one another in each other's personal lives, and getting to know other characters of part of this book, which is so beautiful. Now, The book ends on a really big cliffhanger on this one, and you immediately jump right back into the story in Keeping 13. And Keeping 13 has all of the feels, and it's beautiful and it's amazing, and their story just evolves even more, and you get to know them even deeper, and you get to know their relationship more, and you even get to fall in love with the side characters, because eventually those side characters get their own book later on in the series. But when I tell you that I actually cried during one of the scenes in Binding 13, but if I had to choose, I only did these two together because, like, you can't have one without the other, essentially. However, if I had to choose between these two, I'm doing Keeping 13. Keeping 13 was my favorite, and this altered my brain chemistry immensely, and I'm glad it did. Because now I wish that I was in Ireland back in the early 2000s, so that I can be friends with them, and so that I can save Shannon and her family. That's how you know that a book has altered your brain chemistry. Y'all hear that? It's my cat drinking. It's just because of how desperate you want to be in their world. You know what I mean? And that's exactly how I felt with Binding 13. That's how I continue to feel even reading Saving Six. Like, it's insane. So the next book is a book that we read for my sister's book club, and we bonded pretty well over it. It's honestly insane. But The Push is so freaking good. This is a fiction. This is a literary fiction. So the story eventually, it literally follows Blythe, who becomes a new mother. And so she comes from a broken generation of mothers. So, like, her mother wasn't that nice to her grandmother wasn't that nice to her mother, and so she's trying to break this generational curse and this generational trauma with her daughter. However, you only get to know what's going on inside her head, so we don't really see what's going on the other side. Meaning, like, if she says she sees something, or if she says she feels something, then you feel it with her, you see it with her. And it kind of made it a little difficult towards the end of the story, because then you as the reader are left with, wait, is she crazy, or is she, like, is her daughter really not behaving the way, like, that should be normal? And so honestly, this is a really beautiful story, based off of a new mother who goes through postpartum and essentially is just new to motherhood. And I think she eventually ends up having a son. Yes, and then their son, Sam, is born. And with him, Blythe has the blissful connection that she'd always imagined with her children. But it's something, like, with the relationship that she has with her daughter, that she is unsure that if she's crazy regarding her relationship with her daughter. Like, she just doesn't know if she's crazy for thinking that her daughter just doesn't like her, essentially, and that she doesn't like her daughter, or if it's just all in her head because she has trauma from growing up with no good relationships with mothers. I fell in love with this. This was a solid 6 out of 5 stars for me. I love that it was written. It kept me entertained the entire time. There was not a time where I found myself bored with this book. And if I could get another book told from her mom's perspective, I think I would have loved that as well. Finally! Okay, I will say, the 5th book that I chose, it took a little bit of me wanting to know what I wanted my 5th book to be, and the minute that I saw it on my shelf, I said, absolutely, because this was a no-brainer 5 out of 5 for me, and it was a pretty lengthy book. And that is The Women by Kristen Hanna. This was also a book club read that we read for my sister's book club. Even halfway through this book, I knew that it was going to be a 5 out of 5 for me. And the reason it altered my brain chemistry is because I think about it to this day. I think it's just such a good story, again, of how women are not taken seriously in the world of, well, really in any situation, but, like, the world of mental health. And I think it's so adamant in this book that is even taken place back in 1965. Frankie, yes, she grows up in a very conservative home and very traditional. However, in 1965, things are starting to change. Women are starting to be a little bit more outspoken and a little bit more open to the jobs that they are able to have. And this is during the Vietnam War, whenever women started becoming nurses. The Army Nurse Corps is what she joins. The first half of the book, you follow her and her journey in the Vietnam War, which is so intense. It's crazy intense. There is really no held back description for what she sees and what she interacts with during the war. It's really intense. And then there's like love interest in the midst of all of that as well. And then the second half of the book, you follow her and her journey after the war, how she tries to settle in civilian life and just how almost impossible it feels for her. This is my first Kristen Hanna book, by the way. I never read The Nightingale, however I have it. There was another Kristen Hanna book that I also have, but I haven't read it. Oh, The Four Winds or something like that. I have that one, but I have not read it. Reading this alone was enough for me to buy those two other books and say, I want to know what else Kristen Hanna can write. This book alone altered my brain chemistry due to that reason, because I can't stop thinking about it. Like, I think about it even to this day. So not only does she come home and struggle to settle into civilian life, she comes home with the intention, not with the intention, but with thinking that she was going to be so accepted and going to be congratulated the way that her brother was whenever he came back from Vietnam. This is around the time where, like in the 70s, where people started protesting, and she comes back to that thinking that she was going to get a welcome home party by her, like from her country, but her country is like, no, fuck you for going to war. Like, it's just so good. It's so good because she's like, what the hell is happening to me? I can't give too much because if I do, I'm not gonna stop talking about it. But anyway, I love this book. So I just terribly explained how much I loved all these books. I have a lot of other 5-star books that I really, really liked, but these are the ones that really stuck with me. I wanted to teach myself how to express my emotions and feelings when it comes to books, because I'm terrible at explaining synopsis. I'm terrible at explaining why I liked a book. Like, I just know that I liked it. So this was a very, very rough start. But just know that I had such a good time with all of these books here. And these type of books are the reason why I fell in love with reading and why I love it so much. But anywhoozle, I'm ending this video here. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it all the way through this video, then go ahead and comment the number 13. But that's all I've got for you, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!